So I'm gonna call it QR Dupe instead. Just for now. I'm sure we'll come up with, like, a proper name for it. Hello, Jenna. Welcome. We've entered a new age. Yeah, that didn't take me quite as long as I thought it would. I kind of just copied exactly what the auto split already had and just changed the names and the room names, and it was quite easy. So maybe I could have done that on stream. I don't know. An interesting little route we've got here. Okay, so no room splits. No room splits. This is purely a proof of concept kind of situation. I got what, like 18 minutes before? Doing it kind of without thinking. What was it? An 1856, so it's a little under 19 minutes. I reckon I can push it to a sub 18, just by doing things slightly more optimally. So what happened, because I imagine I'll put this on YouTube at some point later today, Wilko was talking about his most recent world record PB, where during the Zoo Bridge 8-back, he got that bug where if you spawn the two cubes too close to one another, you spawn the second achievement or QR, whichever one it is, before the first one has finished spawning in properly. It gets kind of absorbed. They don't both spawn separately and you collect them separately. They get kind of sucked into one thing. And so you only collect one cube when you pick it up. Normally, we avoid this because you're trying to collect two cubes in that situation, right? In that room, you're trying to get, you know, two cubes for the price of... Well, you're trying to get 5 cubes for the price of 4, really. But having one of those cubes not spawn correctly is not what you want. So we've always just kind of ignored it. Wilko ran with it and found that he could spawn QR code again later on in the run, as well as still being able to spawn achievement code again later on in the run, which is unusual because normally the way that trick works is if you spawn QR code and achievement at the same time, collecting either of them counts as a collection of the QR cube. Meaning you shouldn't be able to spawn the QR cube again. And that's why we get an extra use of the achievement cube out of it that we can then use later. But the strange thing is, Wilko, having spawned them both really close to one another, apparently got an extra use of the QR cube out of it. Damn, I didn't want to spawn it in here, but that's fine. Which is unusual. And so he told me that, and I went, doesn't that imply that you could do that again? Doesn't that mean that you could spawn the achievement and QR cubes in close succession with one another on top of each other a second time? Because he still had a use of both of them. It apparently doesn't, or it didn't, count as a collection of either the QR cube or the achievement cube when they overlap with one another. If that makes sense. So, I gave it a go. I hopped onto Fizzog. I moved far enough to collect the QR map. I spawned both the QR and achievement cubes on top of one another. Collected them. I couldn't spawn them in the room that I'd just collected them in, but as I moved to the next room, I tried it again. What do you know? I still have a use of both the QR cube and the achievement cube. So I spawn them both on top of one another. I collect them. I move into the next room. What do you know? I still have a copy of both the achievement and the QR code. So I spawn them on top of each other and I collect them again. And then I move to the next room. And wouldn't you know it, it appears that spawning QR code and achievement on top of one another, like inside one another, in the way that we've been avoiding doing, actually allows you to just keep doing it over and over and over, and it counts as one anti-cube each time you do it. And it's incredibly easy to do, which is crazy. I'm going to do a safety bounce here, why not? It's a proof of concept. I don't want to have to restart this run and explain all of that again. My fucking auto-split didn't work. What the hell? I just tested that and it was running fine. Ah well, whatever. Nothing to be upset about. So effectively, the second you get here and collect this map, you can spawn infinite anti-cubes. Like so. There we go. So I've spawned them real close back to back so they're inside one another. And doing that's counted as one anti-cube. And now, as I said, you can't do it again in the same room, but if I come back in here... you can do it as many times as you like, really, as long as you move from one room to another between each execution of the trick. So what I'm doing here is I'm making my way back to the memory core where the end of the game is and doing it once each time. In every room that we walk through. I found 8 cubes. Now here's where things get real exciting. In my route, at least, what I've done here, what I did just before is I just moved back and forth between these two rooms. And I'm not going to say much here because it's not like it's difficult to do this, but you do want to get the timing right. So we are just going to go back and forth between these two rooms doing this until we have 27 cubes. And then at 27 we're going to go to Old Zoo. Because there's 5 cubes, it's fairly easy to collect in Old Zoo. And then from there we can move to the ending of the game. That's 16. Ten more. And I'm sure there is a location in the game that it is faster to do this. This is just the one that makes sense to me, not having thought about it very hard. So how's everyone's day been, huh? It's pretty riveting stuff. Yes, it is not an exciting route, that's for sure. And I doubt it's going to take the place of regular any percent anytime soon. The point I'm making here is just that it is easy. It's not even going to take the place of true any percent. Really, I'm just showing off that it's possible, I suppose. Alright, so this is number 27. So now we're going to go through here. What we're going to do is, during this cutscene that's coming up, if you spawn both of these while this little animation's coming down, it works the exact same way. They spawn, you know, inside one another and count as just one unlabeled cube. Then we're gonna come over here. We're gonna go up into the throne room. We're not gonna do throne 8 back or anything. We're just gonna have a little bit of I think I fucked that up. No, there we go. Okay. That didn't go as planned, but I still had one use of achievement left. That last one inside the throne room, I think, didn't count as an overlapped weird thing. But it's okay, we still made it here. As a proof of concept, the run is still on the move. So I guess there's two options for those last cubes there. You are correct though, this is boring as hell. It's not fun to watch and it's not fun to play. But it is there. This is something we now know. And then, you know, you do moon as usual at the end. and you really, really try your hardest to get turnless, and then you don't get it. But that's fine, because no one gets turnless, right? It's going in the book. It is going in the book. And I'll leave it up to the rules lawyers to decide what to do, you know, rules-wise with this information. Because, as I said, this was discovered in discussion of this happening in an any percent run. But I doubt this would count as traditional any percent. And I'm gonna miss turnless here, so I'm not gonna go for it. So this will be a sub 18. Very nice. That's what I wanted. That was the goal. 1730 or something like that. Speedrunners don't get to see this color cube particularly often either. Maybe we could call it true-ish any percent. It's the middle zone between regular any percent and true any percent. False any percent, maybe. 1720. It was a good year, so I've been told. The cubes that appear in the hexahedron in the last cutscene are like inverted. Their color is backwards. So anti-cubes appear gold and golden cubes appear blue. Chuck that in the Discord. World first.